Hi everyone, Peter Young here, and in this video I want to show you how you can create a simple lower third in Adobe After Effects and then export that as an essential graphics template to Premiere Pro. This will be so simple, it's going to take us less than 10 minutes. So let's open up After Effects and create a new project. And we'll click on New Composition and name the composition Lower Third. From the presets list, we'll select HDTV 1080-25, which is 1920 by 1080 resolution, square pixels and 25 frames per second. Ideally, this should match the settings that you would normally use in Premiere Pro. We'll leave the duration of the composition as 10 seconds and click OK. So let's go over to the grid and guide options and enable the title Action Safe Guides. So what we want to do is create a rectangle along this line here. So we'll go up to the rectangle tool at the top of the screen and just drag our rectangle out from one side of the composition to the other, and we'll expand the settings for the rectangle with the timeline, and we'll go into rectangle path, and in the size we'll just adjust that so that it's the width of the composition, so 1920, and we'll set it to a height of 80 pixels. Now we just want to make sure that the background for the lower third is in the center of the screen. So we'll go up to the Align tab over on the left side of the screen there, and we'll click on the Align Horizontally tool. And you can see that it slightly repositions the background of the lower third there. So we'll duplicate the lower third by pressing Ctrl and D on the keyboard. And then we want to set the first shape layer to be an alpha matte of the second. So what this will mean is that the first shape layer will only be visible when it's within the area that the second shape layer occupies. Let's expand the settings for shape layer 1 again, and we'll go right down to transform, and what we want to do is move to about 20 frames in, and we'll click on the stopwatch for position. That'll set a keyframe at the 20 frames point so that it remembers that at that point we want the background for the lower third to be in that position, and then we'll scroll back to 0 seconds. We'll hover over the vertical position and we'll click and drag to the right just so that the background becomes just invisible. You'll see a position keyframe has now appeared at 0 seconds. If we press spacebar on the keyboard, we'll be able to preview the animation that we've created. Let's move the time indicator across to 9 seconds and 5 frames. And what we'll do here is set another keyframe by coming over to the left hand side and just clicking on this diamond icon. And then we'll scroll across to 10 seconds, hover over the vertical position value, and click and slide to the right to lower it to 620 so that it just becomes invisible. What we can do now is give it a slightly smoother motion by dragging and selecting all of the keyframes and pressing F9 on the keyboard to select Easy Ease. What we can do now is go into the graph editor, click on the second keyframe and just drag the small handle next to the keyframe to the left, and you'll see that it changes the graph so it's got a steep slope to start with and then slowly curves out at the bottom. And we'll go across to the second to last keyframe and we'll drag the handle for that keyframe to the right so that it has the same effect at the end of the animation. Now when we press spacebar to preview the animation, you'll see that the background appears quickly and then slows down as it finishes the animation. And then at the end you'll see that it starts disappearing slowly and then quickly speeds up towards the end of that animation. We'll click on the graph editor icon again to come out of that view, and we'll collapse the settings for the shape layer and move the current time indicator to 2 seconds. So we're going to click on the text tool at the top of the page, and I'm going to click next to the title safe guideline there and enter some text. So for this example, I'm just going to put my name in, and then I'm going to zoom in by holding down Alt on the keyboard and using the scroll wheel on the mouse, and I'm just going to position the text in the center of the background and flush against the title safe guide. So let's zoom out again, and what we want to do is select the text layer and select the capitalization option just so that the text is all in caps, and we'll just take a look at the fonts just to see if there's anything else we want to choose from, but I think I'm just going to go back to Arial again. You should obviously choose whichever font is most appropriate for you. Now we'll expand the settings for the text layer and go into the text layer settings, and we're going to set up the animation for the text. So if we click animate and we want to animate the opacity, We'll scroll back to 20 frames and we'll reduce the opacity to 0. So expand the range selector settings, click on the stopwatch for start, and we'll scroll across to 1 second and 5 frames and set start to 100%. Now let's scroll across to 8 seconds and 20 frames, set another keyframe by pressing the diamond icon, and then scroll across to 9 seconds and 5 frames and reduce the start value to 0% again. Now if we scroll back to 0 seconds and press spacebar, we'll see that the background now animates in, the text appears on top of the background, and then just before 9 seconds the text disappears again and the background slides out. So that's looking good. Now let's collapse the settings for the text layer, and what we want to do is go over to Effects and Presets, and we want to search for Fill. And if we drag the Fill preset over to the text layer, and we want to change the color back to white. Now you'll see the benefit of this in a second when we go to create the template. So let's go up to the top of the screen and we want to select the Essential Graphics layout for After Effects and select the composition to lower third and name the lower third template. So I think we'll name this one Animated Lower Third. Now if you click on Solo Supported Properties, you'll see everything that we can add to the template that can be adjusted in Adobe Premiere. So of course we want to add the source text. So that's the text that's going to appear on the lower third. So let's change this to your text just so that it's clear what goes in here. And we'll drag in the color from the fill effect that we added previously. And we'll rename that text color. And we'll scroll right to the bottom to shape layer 1 and we'll drag in the fill color option for the background. And we'll name that lower third BG color. Now if we select Export Motion Graphics Template, we'll be asked to save the project first. So click Save, and then save the project to the location that you're working in. And we'll name the file Lower Third Template, and click Save. We'll get a message asking where we want the graphics template to go. So we'll just leave it as Essential Graphics, and we'll click OK. Now it's just warning us that the Arial font isn't part of Adobe Typekit and may not be available on other machines. So we'll just click OK to that. So now that we've saved our lower third template, we can go over to Premiere Pro and test it out. So now we're in Premiere Pro and I've just put this clip together to illustrate how the lower third will work. So to import the lower third, let's go to the Graphics tab at the top of the screen and we'll drag in the Animated Lower Third preset. So let's pop that onto the timeline. Now if we select it, we've got all of the settings over here that we set in Adobe After Effects. So let's move the time indicator to here, and now we can see the lower third on screen. And let's just change this to my name. And let's change the background color. Let's go for a purple. And obviously we can change the text color too, so we could set it to, I don't know, a turquoise or something like that. And let's play through and see how that looks. Hello everyone, this is the lower third test. And as you can see from the bottom of the screen, my name's Peter Young, and this has been how to create a lower third in Adobe After Effects, export it as a template, and how to use it in Premiere Pro. I hope this video has been useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.